says we are live on, I believe we are live on three different platforms all at the same damn time here. It's the first time I did all three on these particular what's the word I'm looking for? These particular devices. So we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna try this out here today, see how this goes, and if I like it, then we'll keep doing it. If I don't, then we will make adjustments. That's basically the way it works, period. So as everybody's coming in, I got Instagram is live on my far right. I got Facebook live. I'm using a laptop for Facebook. We're gonna see how this works here in the middle of things. And then we have Periscope live on my left, which should be simulcasting through Twitter. So as y'all are checking in right now, actually, go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me where you checking in from. I gotta see if I can see the comments on Facebook. Make sure I'm even looking at the right place. Let me know where y'all checking in from as y'all are checking in right now. And we're gonna see if this is actually working. So as y'all are checking in, again, leave a comment. Tell me where y'all checking in from. We're gonna get into this in a moment. I just wanna make sure I got everything working properly. I don't even know if I'm got this working right on Periscope. Slim Chula checking in on Periscope. Can you see that on Twitter? Can people on Twitter see that I'm live on Periscope? I'm not sure that it is even going through there, but as y'all are checking in from wherever you at, we will find out in a minute. So I don't know if Periscope, if it's going through Twitter or if it's just the Periscope app. Facebook, let me make sure we got the right angle here. And I think we are ready to go. We got Detroit live checking in over on Periscope. Over on IG, we have Andy Young, Nelson from Miami. The UK is in here. Florida's in the house. So somebody said, I'm not sure I will go look. I'm actually on Periscope. All right, so you in the Periscope app. All right, so I got three different apps here. So I got three different cameras. One here, and one here. So today's topic, as voted on my IG story from the people who did vote, I had two different topics up. One of them was we were going to talk some social justice stuff. What the plan I would give to white Americans if they want to help out black people, the plan that I would give them. And then on the other topic was how to stop playing life scared. And I'll let the people vote. So most days what I'm going to do is I'm going to post and I'm going to ask people, what do y'all want me to talk about? And I'll give y'all a couple of different topics. And people chose this one, which is how to stop playing life scared. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to introduce myself. We're going to get right into the topic. And shout out to the people on Periscope who might be watching this on replay or whatever. That's where I first started doing live streams, was on Periscope. That was before Facebook had live. That was before Instagram or YouTube or whoever else had a live. Periscope had it. So we're going to see if we can get the Periscope going again. We'll see how this goes for a while, and then we'll make our adjustments. So anyway, those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 27 books. I created this whole philosophy, this whole brand, this business, this book, this company that is called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking a pro athlete mindset and the tools necessary to succeed in sports and teaching you how those tools apply in business and in life. And of course, for the athletes, how those tools apply in sports. So today's topic actually is something that I got directly from sports. And if you have read my book, Work on Your Game, which is this book right here, I'll tell you about this later on. But in my book, Work on Your Game, I'm live on Twitter too. Appreciate you, Slim Chula. I appreciate that. So in my book, Work on Your Game, I told this story at the beginning of the book. If any of you have not read this book, I'm going to tell you again at the end of this live how you can get this book, where you can get it and all that. And also in my book, Buy a Game. I don't know if anyone watching me right now was following me way back when I was just making basketball videos back in the day before I started talking about mindset stuff. But when I put out my book, Buy a Game, I told the story when I was in 8th grade. I had just started playing basketball every day at school. And I was talking to this guy named Brandon, who was the best player in middle school. And I asked him for some advice because we were about to both go to different high schools. So I asked Brandon, what do I need to do to get better? If I want to improve my game, I want to become somebody in basketball, what should I do? He gave me 2 pieces of advice. He said, you need to buy a game. That's why I titled my first book, Buy a Game. And that meant get some skills. And the other thing he said was stop playing scared. You can't play basketball scared, because if you play scared, the things that you're afraid of are probably going to happen. You're going to mess up when you're afraid of messing up. If you're nervous, you're not going to show your full game. And I think everyone who's listening to me right now, watching me right now, you can understand that even when you feel like you have all the skills, and even when you feel like you have the ability to do well, if you are performing scared. And I'm not talking about, you don't have to be a performance artist. You don't have to be an athlete or a dancer or a singer or a speaker or be doing a live stream to understand this. Just in your everyday life and whatever you're trying to do and trying to accomplish, if you're afraid, if you're nervous, if you're self-conscious, if you're just looking at yourself and you know that you're not in a full state of confidence about what you're doing, you are not going to bring all your skills out. A metaphor that I use, and I did 2 TED Talks on confidence, but I talk about this in both of those TED Talks and in my book, Super You, it's all about confidence, is that confidence is like having a big house with, let's say you got 10 bedrooms in your house, and each one of those bedrooms is a separate skill, right? Now, confidence is like a master key or a set of keys that opens up each one of those skills. Each bedroom has a lock on the door, and your confidence is the key that unlocks that door and allows you to access those skills. So if you got 10 different skills and your confidence is at, let's say, 50%, you're halfway confident. That means you have 5 keys. So that means you can access half of your skills, but you can't access the other half. When you're fully confident, that means you have keys to open every single door. Maybe just one master key that unlocks every single door in your house. And this is the way that it works in life. When you are fully confident, you are able to access all of your abilities and show all of your game, whatever your game happens to be. But when you are not fully confident, there are skills that you know you have that for whatever reason, you are not able to put them out there. And this leads to frustration. Now, it's one thing if you're just trash and you're not good and you try to do something and it's just not working. That's when you just lack ability. But when you have the ability, but you're not able to show that ability, that happens when you are playing life scared. So what we're going to talk about here today, as usual, for those who are not familiar with the way that I do these lives, I'm going to give you some step-by-step points. I'm going to lay out a framework here, a simple framework for you to stop playing your life scared. And again, it doesn't matter what you do. You could be an author of books. You could be a TikToker. You could be a social media guru. You could be a professional speaker. You can be an athlete. Doesn't matter. You could be a librarian, a school teacher. What I'm going to lay out for you here today will apply to you. How to stop playing scared, how to stop performing scared and living scared, so you can show your full game and you can get the full ROI from your abilities out here in the world. So if you're interested in that, get something to take notes with, or figure out a way to save this, or watch it again when it's over. This will save on all platforms: IG, Facebook, Periscope. They'll be live. I'm not live, but able to be rewatched when this is over. So let's get into it. Point number 1, the topic once again is how to stop playing life scared. First thing you need to understand is that when you're in a state of fear is a very strong emotion, is a very strong energy, is probably the most core emotion that human beings feel. And fear exists because back in the quote unquote caveman days, the human being needed to be fearful because if they ate the wrong berries off the tree, they could lose their life, or they weren't cognizant of the fact that there might be a saber-toothed tiger or some deadly animal that could kill them around the corner, and they walked around that corner, they could end up losing their life, and now nothing else matters if you lose your life. So that fear had to be present in the mind and top of mind to the caveman back in the day, simply because that's the life that we were in. That's the world that we were living in. These days, we're not in that type of life. Most of us, if you're watching this right now, you're watching a live stream on a Saturday morning or a Saturday afternoon on a smartphone or a laptop, and you have a data connection and Wi-Fi, all right, you are not in a life or death situation every single day. Okay, you're not. No matter what you want to, if somebody might want to make you think, you're not in a life or death every day. But that same energy that was wired into us back in the caveman days still exists. So this is why human beings can still experience fear and just be fearful, just be nervous and anxious about life, even though there's nothing that's threatening your life on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis these days. So you have to figure out a way to do something with this energy. You got to figure out a way to, displace this fear somehow, some way. Because what fear does, when you're fearful, just thinking about yourself, let's forget about the outside world. You're just thinking about yourself and the things that you're doing and putting yourself out there and all of that. You know what that fear does? It leads to self-consciousness. And I talk about that again in my book, Work on Your Game. Self-consciousness is when you are so conscious of only yourself, all your energy is going inward, and you are thinking about things that your subconscious mind is better dealing with. And then basically, and again, analogy that I laid out in this book here, and I'll tell you about that later, is your subconscious mind is better off handling certain tasks than you are handling those tasks. For example, you have a driver's license, you've driven a car 1,000 times. You get in the car and you start consciously thinking about every single thing you're doing in the car, you'll probably start messing up. You'll start making mistakes. You'll be thinking about how to do something. You can't even think of how to do it. But if you stop thinking, you would do it easily without having to even consider it at all. Why is that? It's because the subconscious mind does things without having to consciously think. It does it a lot faster. You can do things instinctively. You can do things without having to consider at all, take no time whatsoever, because that's the way the subconscious works. It is what we call instinct, and also habits are formed through the subconscious mind. The problem with fear leading to anxiety when we're fearful with ourselves is that we become self-conscious and we have to consciously process every single thought that we have. And the problem is, even though human thinking is really fast, instinct is faster than conscious thought. So when you start consciously thinking about things, instead of doing it instinctively, it's slower, it becomes more clumsy, it becomes more obvious that you're kind of thinking, it becomes obvious that you're self-conscious. You ever seen somebody who was self-conscious and you could tell they were self-conscious? You ever see somebody performing and you know they're self-conscious, whether they're speaking, whether they're doing a live stream, whether they're playing a sport, and you can tell that they're kind of nervous or anxious about what they're doing? It's obvious. You can see it in their movements. You can see it in their body language. You can see it on their face. You can read it in their energy that they are thinking. They're processing everything that they're doing. But in life, you often, especially something that you already have skill in, you would do it a whole lot better when you're not thinking about it. And this is the thing that sometimes people ask me, especially athletes, but asking things like, Dre, when I get in the game, what should I be thinking about? What should be my mindset or my state of thoughts when I get in the game so I can play my best? And the answer to the question is always the same. You shouldn't be thinking at all. If you are a performer, if you're a singer, you think about somebody like a Beyonce or Taylor Swift or Rihanna. When they get on stage to perform their concerts, what are they thinking about? It's a trick question. They're not thinking about anything. They already know the words to the song. They've already performed and rehearsed it 100, 1,000 times. They know all their dance steps. They know when the pyrotechnics are going to go off. They know what the stage layout is going to be like. They know what all their dancers are going to do. They don't have to think. All they got to do is go out there and just perform. They get themselves into a state of mind where everything becomes instinctive and habitual. Now, maybe when they first started, they had to think. Maybe when Beyonce was 12 and she was performing, she had to think about it. But she's done it so many times now. As long as she keeps practicing, she doesn't have to think at all. And you want to get yourself in the same state when it comes to, again, whatever it is that you're doing. If you do one-on-one conversations, if you want to write a book, if you play a sport, if you play an instrument, whatever you're doing, you want to get to the point that you do things without having to think at all. Doesn't mean you never think at all in your life, but when it comes time to perform and put yourself out there, you shouldn't be thinking because your work has already been done up front. When all your energy and thoughts are directed inwardly towards you, which we call self-consciousness, you can't give any energy out. And when you don't give energy out, it's impossible to get energy back. How do we know this? Because everybody who's listening to me right now understands the concept of karma. Everyone knows what the concept is, right? That the energy you put out is the energy you get back. So what if you put no energy out? Do you get energy back? Of course not. Since everybody agrees with the law of karma, everybody can understand why when you're self-conscious, everything's going to you, then nobody's going to give anything to you because you're not giving anything out. When you're putting all your energy outward, which we call confidence, which we call being bold, which we call being self-assured, then all the energy comes back to you. This is why when you see someone who's very confident in the way that they walk, the way they talk, the way they perform, the way they engage and put themselves out there, the world pays attention to them. Eyeballs are on that individual because they're not worried about themselves. Therefore, they can give all their energy out into the world. This is the same thing that you need to do. Fear is the culprit when you find yourself being a little bit too self-conscious or maybe a lot self-conscious. Point number 2, topic here today is how to stop playing scared. And as I just talked about, you got to develop your skill and practice. So this is the whole concept of working on your game, which, again, if you follow me or know who I am, you know that that's the whole thing is all about working on your game. The purpose of working on your game, and I want to make sure people understand, working on your game is not the last step in your process. Working on your game is the first step in your process. The purpose of working on your game is so that you develop skill, and as you develop skill, then you create opportunities for yourself to show your skill. Then when you get that opportunity, you got to go out and perform. And when you perform, the goal is to produce a result. When you produce a result, you get the reward. So what is the reward? The reward might be love, affection. You get the girl or the guy. You get the fans. You get the followers. You get the likes. You get the contract. You get the money, the trophy. Whatever it is that you want in life, you get as a result of producing results. But working on your game is the first step in that. Oftentimes people will say to me, Dre, well, I just need an opportunity. Well, the step before an opportunity is you got to have worked on your game. If you're working on your game solidly, then that's when you want an opportunity. All right, don't go looking for an opportunity until you're sure you can perform and actually do something. Because if you get an opportunity and you fail to perform, which is step 3, then you get sent right back to step 1, which is working on your game all over again. So make sure you're ready to perform and produce a result. Or if you perform and you don't produce a result, now you might have to go perform all over again. It's like a basketball team. Right now we got the NBA playoffs. So last night the Boston Celtics eliminated the Toronto Raptors. Now the Raptors, they didn't produce a result. The result for every team every year is to win the championship. They didn't do it. They won it last year. They lost. They didn't win it this year. They lost. So now next year, what do they have to do? Of course, many of their players are going to go back to the gym, work on their games. They already got the opportunity because they signed to a contract. Now they got to go perform a whole season of basketball all over again. And then they got to try to get that result, which is winning the championship. The thing about sports is a zero-sum game. Only one team wins the championship. Everybody else has to go back to the gym, work on their game, play the whole season all over again, and try to get that result again. Every year, everybody's going after the same goal. Everybody can't get it. Only one team's going to get that goal. And then the teams that don't go right back to the drawing board and keep working on their game. This is the way that it works. This is the way it works in sports. Sports being zero-sum. But business, for example, a bunch of people can win. So just because one person made $10 million doesn't mean the next business can't make it either. So sports is a little bit different. That's why it's people call it the ultimate meritocracy, because only one team can win. Whereas in business, a lot of people can win, and the rules aren't all the same for everybody. But the whole point in this second point, developing your skill and practicing, when you know what you're doing and you know how to employ what you know, you don't have fear. That doesn't mean you're always going to win. Doesn't mean everything's going to work out. And anybody got a question, I will address those at the end. But doesn't mean everything's always going to work out. But it does mean you can unlock and unleash all of your abilities, which is the bare minimum that you can ask for, is that let me put all my skills out there. Now, if you put all your skills out there and somebody's just better than you and you just don't win, or you just unlucky that day, then, okay, things just didn't work out. You can come back and do it again, and odds are over time you're going to get a victory at some point. But if you don't put all your skills out there and then you lose, that's a whole different situation. You don't want to be in that situation where you just didn't get your result because for whatever reason you didn't put all your game out there. So make sure you're working on your game so you have some game to show, then you show up when it matters. Point number 3, topic here today, how to stop playing life scared. Fear happens, or when fear happens, we live life on our heels. And when I say on our heels, that means we're back. We're waiting for something to come to us and putting ourselves in defensive mode. Bottom line is, or a truth is, a better way of saying it, is that you will create your biggest successes and your biggest advances in life when you're playing life on offense. What do I mean by offense? Now, if you play sports, you know what offense is, right? Offense is the time in the game where you get to score a point, or you get to score a goal, or you get to score a touchdown. That's how you light up the scoreboard and put those numbers up on those boards. And those numbers usually determine who wins and who loses, right? Because we know the scoreboard says, or whatever the scoreboard says at the end of the game, you had 20 points, the other team has 19, you win. You only get to score on offense. You can't really score points on defense. I guess technically you can. In football, you get an interception or something like that. But you understand the concept of what I'm saying here. When you play life on defense, that means you're waiting for something to happen to you, or you're fearful of something happening to you, or you're anxious about something happening to you, or you're just not fully confident about what you're doing. So you're looking around life, defensive about what may happen to you or what may not happen to or for you. Then life is just going to keep coming at you. When you put yourself in a defensive mode, by human nature, other people are going to go on the offensive around you. This is just the nature of human beings. It's not because they want to take advantage of you. It's because this is what people do. It's the balancing out of the universe. But when you play life on offense, for example, what happens? The exact opposite happens. When you go on the offensive, when you are aggressive in life, and the definition of aggressive is going after one's aims boldly and forcefully. There's nothing wrong with being aggressive. Being aggressive is not a negative thing. It doesn't mean you're a jerk. It doesn't mean you're bullying or taking advantage of people. It just means you are forcefully going after what you want. When you have that type of energy, you know what other people do when you're aggressive, when you're playing life on offense? You know what they do? They move out of your way. This is, again, a law of the universe. When a person is aggressive and on the offensive, other people sense that energy coming off of you. They don't have to talk to you. They don't have to know who you are. They don't have to ever even heard of you. People can feel the energy of someone who's on offense, and they will instinctively move out of your way, because nobody's going to get in the way of somebody who's already moving. All right, people don't get in the way of a moving vehicle. Now, you might walk in front of a parked car because you know it ain't going anywhere. But a moving car, you're going to get out of the way. If you see a moving car coming, even if you're in front of it, you're going to run to make sure you don't get hit because you can tell that car might not be wanting to stop. You got to exit. So the thing is, in life, the topic here today, again, how to stop playing life scared. Play on the offensive. All right, don't worry about how to not be scared. The reason I'm using that title is because this is something that people ask me. I would much rather word this differently and say, just playing life on offense. And as a matter of fact, I've done a live on that exact topic. I did a master class on it as well. So instead of waiting for things to happen to or for you, how about you start happening to and for other things? Try it for a change and see how things work out. Okay, don't take my word for it. Go try it. Point number 4, it's the last point. The topic here today is how to stop playing life scared. You may be concerned about judgment from other people. This may be one of the reasons why you're playing life scared, because you're wondering what other people are going to say about you, what's somebody going to think about you, how are people going to react when you say this, when you do this, when you put this out there. Let me explain a truth about human beings to you. As much as you're concerned about what other people may think about you, all right, they are not concerned at all about, they're not thinking about you at all. All right, so if you're thinking about what other people might think about you, you should stop doing that, because they are not even considering you. You're not even on their radar. And I'll give you an example. I'll prove it to you. How much time today have you spent really thinking about other people compared to how much time you spent today thinking about you? I would guess that 98% of your thoughts are about you. And if you think about another person, it's usually in relation to how whatever that person is saying or doing, how it relates to you, what it has to do with your life. It's not really about them, it's about you. So if somebody else is doing something, you're thinking about it. The reason you're thinking about it is because you're thinking about, how does it relate to me? How do I compare myself to that person? What did that person say to me? What am I going to say next time I see them? What can I do to get this person's attention? It's really just about you. And you are no different than any other human being on this planet, in that we are all self-centered, we are all self-focused, we are all self-conscious on some level, and we are not thinking about other people as much as we think other people are thinking about us. So if you are fearful and anxious about yourself because you're worried what other people are thinking about you, let me alleviate that issue for you right now and let you know nobody gives a damn about you. Same way you don't really give a damn about anybody else. Maybe your kids, maybe your parents, that's about it. Maybe your significant other, that's pretty much it. You can count them on your hands. Nobody else cares about you. Everybody is focused on themselves. Everyone's thinking about how you are judging them rather than how they are being judged. Well, rather than how they are judging you, if you understand what I'm saying. Hope I made that clear. You're not thinking about them. They're not thinking about you. We are all preoccupied with ourselves. Everybody got that clear. So you don't have to be fearful on that front of how other people are going to judge you, because they're not. All right, they're all worried about how you were judging them. All that being said, I'm going to tell you about this book right here in front of me, how you can get this book for free, and I'll tell you how you can get the Work on Your Game book as well. Then I'm going to recap my points, and if someone has a question, I will go ahead and address those questions. The thing about Periscope is that anybody leaves a comment, it just disappears. Oh no, I can still see it. All right, cool. So I will address the comments on Periscope, Instagram, Facebook, if there are any. If you got a question, go ahead and post it. This book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. It is subtitled The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. This is the first book of mine that you should read. If you have not read any of my books, or you looked and you see there's so many, you don't know where to begin, I'm answering your question right now. You start with this book. I made it free to make it easy for you to make a decision. You only have to make a decision because it's free. Just go to mirrorofmotivation.com. Tell me where to ship it. I will ship this book to you worldwide. We got UPS, we got envelopes, we got stamps, we got airplanes, we got all that. So anywhere you live, we will ship you this book. Why do you want this book? Let me tell you that. You want this book because everybody who's listening to me right now, you have goals, you have things you wish to achieve in life. And at the same time, you're not a dummy. You understand that you got to do some work. You understand you can't get something for nothing, right? Challenge is you never ask yourself the key question. This is the most important question that most people never ask themselves their whole lives. Who do I need to be? What type of person do I need to be in my life? How do I need to approach life? How do I need to see myself in the mirror? What kind of energy do I need to bring to life to get what I want to get in life? That is the question. This book will give you a framework to answer, okay? This book is called The Mirror of Motivation because it's going to show you how to look in the mirror and you can create your own answers for yourself and adjust those answers as time changes. Because listen, a year from now, you're going to be a different person than you are today. You're going to have a different circumstance. You're going to have a different situation and different challenges. So giving you one answer from me wouldn't really help you in the long term because next year, again, you're going to have a whole different circumstance. So what is that one answer from last year going to do for you? This book will give you the framework for doing that. The book is already paid for. It's free. All you do is cover the shipping. Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. The book's paid for. You cover the shipping again. Mirrorofmotivation.com. On the very next page, after you get that book, you will get an offer to get this book and my book called The Mental Workbook. This book right here, obviously it's called Work on Your Game. This is where I took my full philosophy, all the stuff that I talk about, and I condensed it down into the best 250 pages of the Work on Your Game philosophy per the request of my publisher. I could have made this book 2,000 pages, but I made it 250 pages to make it easy for you to read. Hardcover book where we cover everything, using the pro athlete mindset to dominate your game in business, sports, and life. This is not a sports book. It's not an entrepreneurship book. But if you are an athlete or an entrepreneur, I guarantee you this book will be valuable for you because I'm an athlete and entrepreneur. And if you're neither one, I guarantee you it still will be valuable to you because we're giving you the tools and the frameworks for how you can apply this stuff to anything else that you do. And any of you who's read this book, you understand that. If you listen to what I just said, you will understand it. You will get this book, an option to get this after you put in your information to get this, mirrorofmotivation.com. On the very next page, we're going to offer you the work on your game book and the mental workbook, which is the workbook that will allow you to implement this framework. So the only thing you got to remember about all that is mirrorofmotivation.com. Let me recap my points and then I'll address any questions or comments that are relevant to the topic. Topic again, stop playing scared. How to stop playing scared in life. Number one, fear leads to self-consciousness. All your thoughts and energies directed inward. When your energy is going inward, nobody's going to give you any energy because you're not giving any out. The law of karma. Point number two, develop your skill and practice. In other words, work on your game. When you know you have game and you have practiced your game, you won't be nervous about how you're going to put yourself out there because you know you have game. If you're unsure about your game, of course you're going to be nervous. And of course it could lead to fear and self-consciousness because you don't have any game. You haven't done the work. Point number three, fear happens or fear is a result of playing life on your heels. When you're playing life in defense mode, when you play life on offense, life moves out of your way. When you play life on defense, life puts obstacles in your way. Ask yourself which one you want. Point number four, you may be concerned about judgment from other people, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Everybody else is concerned about judgment from you. So stop worrying about how other people are perceiving you because other people are not thinking about you at all. Same way you're not thinking about them. We are all self-centered. We are all self-conscious. We are all self-focused. We are not thinking about others and others are not thinking about us. All that being said, let me address any comments or questions that we got here. Manu Ginobili over there and Facebook, what's going on? Let's see. In Instagram, Romello1, what's going on over there on Periscope? Andy said, I'm at my court hooping now. Any advice would be fantastic. Oh, you got to ask me a better question than that, Andy. I just gave you 30-minute talk about how to improve yourself. But if you got a direct question to ask me, I would say go to hoophandbook.com if you're trying to get better at basketball. You're looking at skill stuff, hoophandbook.com. Arben said, be confident, Arben said, and work on your game, talked about be confident and sending out energy. Right. But won't this make you a people pleaser and seeking approval? No. Arben, read the whole book. I believe I addressed all of those questions. And you're making a huge jump from being confident to pleasing people. Those aren't even directly related. So I don't even know how you came to that question. Bankroll says, do I still talk to Brandon to this day? We're still cool. Jeff Olden says, when you going to come out with a new book? After you read all the 27 that I already got. Jeff, how many have you read? I can't come out with a new one until you finish with the ones we got. Question is who win the finals? I don't know. We don't have a matchup yet, so I can't say. But I might do a video for the conference finals as soon as we know who's playing. So if Lakers win tonight, then I think, is that it? Oh no, the Clippers and the Lakers still got to win. So we got Clippers, Denver, Lakers, Houston. Those series ain't over yet, so we're not sure yet who's playing. But we know we got Miami, Boston on the other side. So we will see. All that being said, again, mirrorofmotivation.com. Book is paid for. All you do is cover the shipping. We ship this book worldwide, anywhere that you live. I do these lives every single day. Don't know what time. It's not always at the same time. It's not always, definitely not always the same topic. Andy says, how to get respect from teammates when my goals of winning differ from theirs. Well, first of all, I would suggest you read the Mirror Motivation and then read Work on Your Game because I talk about that. I talk about leadership and working with other people. There's a whole chapter in this book, Work on Your Game, called Your Interpersonal Game. If you don't believe me, that's in chapter 9. right here, your interpersonal game. So that's where you will learn how to do that, how to have influence on other people if you're trying to get them to kind of go along with what you want to do. The first step is you got to have some game, Andy. So if you ain't got no game, you can't just make other people agree with you, because why would they? Why would they listen to you? Christian says, am I voting in a presidential election? I don't know. We got 2 months to go. As of right now, I don't really like either candidate enough. I'm not excited about either one to vote. It doesn't really matter to me who wins. I know I've talked about this extensively already. But as we get closer, I'll talk about it a little bit more. But as of right now, if voting was today, would I go out and vote? No, probably not. I'm not excited enough about either one to go vote. So that's the way I'm basing it on. I don't really care who wins. So either person win, I will tell y'all this, no matter who wins, I'm going to have plenty of material. Both candidates and either result will provide plenty of material. There'll be plenty of stuff to talk about. So that's really the basis for me. My business is all about the work on your game philosophy. So no matter what happens, there'll be plenty of stuff to relate back to work on your game to talk about. If it's Biden, if it's Trump, if Kanye wins in a surprise victory, there will be plenty of things to talk about. So that's the basis of how I look at the presidential elections, government, and all that. Again, one more time, mirrorofmotivation.com. The book's paid for. All you do is cover the shipping. And Christian asked me about the election. Look on my YouTube. I put out the video where I talked about my prediction that Trump was going to win. Not because I'm necessarily voting for him or that I want him to win, but I think he's going to win, at least as of the date that I recorded that. Hasn't really changed since then. But maybe something will change. I'll have to make another video. So that is on YouTube. It's also on my IGTV tab here. It's also on Facebook. It's not on Periscope, but it is on those platforms that I just said. So everybody, y'all know what it is. These lives, don't know exactly what time. Just put your notifications on. I will put this in my IGTV tab on my Instagram. It'll be on my Facebook page. It's on the main page. My Facebook is /Work On Your Game. For those of you who are on Facebook, you can follow me there, Work On Your Game. And Periscope is @Dre All Day. Just go to my Twitter account. And when I go live on Periscope, it usually says at the top, Dre Baldwin is live, or Dre All Day is live on, what do they call that app? Twitter. So that's what it is. That's what it was. Everybody have a great Saturday. Stay safe. Keep your hands clean. Work on your game. We out of here.